G'day and welcome to Kenty Blitz, your daily hit of NRL news. Kenty, some big news coming out of, I don't know if it's big news, but it's good news coming out of NRL headquarters with, they're saying they're going to have a bit of a clampdown or they're going to look into this trainer fiasco at the end of the year.
Yeah, look, it's good news for the game. It's fascinating that we actually get to this, isn't it, Warren? That we get to a stage where the NRL are almost surprised that this is happening. That the trainers are not doing the job as that it says in the rule book, but are basically running the agendas of the clubs for which they're employed. But the NRL, they're going to get into it. They're going to have a review at the end of the season that they've announced. Dean Ritchie broke the news yesterday. The problem, I think, for the NRL is I don't know how willing they are to really actually resolve the problem, Warren. So we've had a couple of incidents in recent weeks, okay? A ball hitting a trainer who we all wondered what he was doing there.
Yep.
Cost Parramatta an opportunity. Thankfully for Parramatta, they still won the game, so it hasn't become that big of an issue.
Yep.
But it did cost them an opportunity to go ahead. The other thing, obviously, a few weeks back, we saw the Shane Elford, I think, coming on. I think that was the bigger one out of the Penrith game, where he basically coached the Panthers through, helped coach the Panthers through that entire set of 6, which ended in the Nathan Cleary field goal. Now, what I think was fascinating is that Billy Slater has come out, and Billy Slater is one of the most intelligent, intelligent players in the game.
Yep.
He thinks about the game. He's always been a thinker. Now, Billy, thankfully, has cut through all the bullshit that the NRL just keeps getting swallowed in, and he said, what else are the trainers supposed to be doing out there? Like he says they are club employees. They are going to push the advantage as far as they can. And he said it's incumbent on the NRL to stay on top of this. The NRL sort of acted like they've had this belief that it's just there would be this goodwill in the game. No, it's ridiculous.
And do what they're told.
And do what they're told and try not to seek any advantage.
Yeah.
It's so naive for a competition worth hundreds of millions of dollars, where clubs are spending millions and millions of dollars, where success and the margins of success, between success and failure are so fine. I don't understand how the naivety of this headquarters down there not to understand that players and clubs would be pushing every advantage they get.
Yeah, that's perplexing, isn't it? I mean, you hear Connor Tracy the other day on Prime Time talking about it. It's even just about how they turn their foot.
Yep.
To turn around and get back. Get back on the mark. And so there's that precision at a club level, but the NRL thinking, we'll just leave them and everyone will abide by the rules.
Players will go through, clubs and coaches will go through every little aspect of the game, trying to seek advantage. Primarily, it sits around the play the ball. What can we do to slow the play the ball down when we're tackling? What can we do to quicken it and get a quick play the ball away when we're attacking? It's naive to think that strive for professional advantage is not also being applied to their trainers.
Yeah.
And for the NRL to sit there and, look, we saw it famously in the grand final in 2019 with the Canberra Roosters game when the ball hit the trainer. Totally disadvantaged Raiders at the time, cost them momentum, and Roosters scored soon after and put the game to bed. That it wasn't fixed then, I don't know, it stuns me to be honest. And I'm frustrated at the NRL. It has to always come to this point, has to come to some approaching sort of crisis sort of moment where we go, because it is obvious that trainers are sitting there and they are coaching players on the field. It annoys the shit out of fans. They are supposed to be professional athletes. Most of us, we get to under 10s and the coach walks off the field. And it stays like that until you get back to NRL level where his trainer comes on the field and coaches you through.
Yeah, very good.
Look, it's like this. This is the other thing. So this is where the coaches have bluffed the game. They sit there and they want to talk about player welfare. We need trainers on there. We need to be running them water. They need to be hydrated. That's the health. We had the famous Dennis Shepherd incident nearly over 30 years ago now, where he dehydrated and went to a coma because he was so dehydrated and he got cooked so much playing the game. So we've had this sort of obsession. Okay, they need water. They are professional athletes. I've been to various Olympic Games. You watched, always held in summer, you watched the marathon. These guys are running at 180 heartbeats a minute for 2 and a bit hours. Okay, now, yes, they do get water. There's water stops along the way.
Every 6Ks they get water.
Every 6Ks.
That's a long,
There you go. Yeah. Right, now the point of that is they don't have someone running up next to them and handing them water. They don't. These guys can all walk over to a sideline if they are thirsty and get a drink. Okay, now, again, beware of introducing that rule, because it'll be continually be the halfback or the playmaker walking over to get a drink because you'll be copying instructions on the way. But I think we've got to get the hands back in the game of the players a little bit more. Yep. Okay, every time there's a stoppage in play, they're on there running water. Yep. They don't need to be drinking every 4 minutes. Okay, honest. So
it's ridiculous when you put it like that.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
And look, we all sit in silence and watch it, and it's just one of those things I think we've become accustomed to.
Yes.
We just tolerate it. But I think I'd like these recent incidents to basically become like a bit of a milestone moment where we go, you know what, let's just fix it once and for all. The players are more than aware of their obligation to be hydrated before a game.
Yeah.
I would go as far as say you could probably go to half time before you needed another drink, but I get that. It should only really be on there, I think, now after tries are scored. And if it goes 35 minutes before there's a try scored, so be it.
The funny thing is, Kenny, you go to a training, an NRL training, and they don't get water for 15, 20 minutes.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know. The whole thing's ridiculous. And I know there's safety things that they bring in and all the rest of it, but the fact is it is not necessary. But most of all, the lack of awareness from the NRL to recognise what it's actually being used for and how they're being played. Because what happens is coaches go to these annual conferences at the end of the year, sit down with the NRL, because it's like this one. The one thing, doesn't matter how good a coach you are, doesn't matter how good your players are, the one thing you cannot coach against is fatigue. Soon as you start getting tired players, they start to make mistakes. They start to get a little bit foggy in their thinking. They'll lack an effort defensively. They'll throw an arm out when they should stick a shoulder in, all those sorts of things. So coaches, when they have these annual meetings with the NRL and sit down and let's discuss how the season went and what changes we need to make, are always agitating, and it's the only thing they ever are really collective on, is they're always agitating for more stoppages and more breaks in play. That's why they love the interchange, because they don't want tired players. Okay. Because they can't stop that.
Yep.
Okay, you can be fitter, but if a player's tired, he's tired. So, and this sort of marries into that. Players get tired, so I'll send a trainer on. He'll tell them, guys, we need to start doing this. We need to start doing that. He sits behind the halfback or whoever's calling the plays, and he just talks in his ear.
Ken, if you think that's ridiculous, I want to just read these out to you quickly. This is the differences in the shirts. Orange shirt, he's the medically qualified head trainer. He can go on unlimited times, but he can't carry a message.
Yeah, if you believe that.
Cannot. Whereas the blue shirt can go on, but he can't go on all the time. He can only go on for interchange and hydration. He can go on unlimited, and he can carry messages.
Yeah.
And then the yellow guy can only go on to assist the orange guy.
I know. Mate, it's ridiculous.
And he cannot supply water unless a tries.
The thing is, though, what it is that the clubs have pulled the wool over the NRL's eyes. The NRL, in good faith, at some point in the past, have acted upon it.
Mm-hmm. Player welfare,
because that's the one thing they're terrified of.
Yeah.
Charlie didn't get a drink at the 14th minute, and he's not feeling real well now. Okay, but the players are so well educated, all that sort of stuff. I think that's almost an irrelevance. I don't think the player. If you look at other athletes in other sports that have in any type of endurance sport, they are always going periods of time without water, and they plan for that.
So what do we do, Kenty? What do we do? Do we ban the trainer?
No, we don't. You can't ban the trainer because if in cases of injury, it's very difficult. One, the NRL's got to get rid of this blockage where they can't listen between the dialogue between the orange shirt trainer and the doctor, because that's where a little bit of trickery is going on. They need total transparency. And what they need to do is they need to start calling the bluff on a few clubs, because clubs are sitting there. Shane Elford the other day has not basically. It's gone unchallenged. The NRL just said, okay, He wasn't supposed to be there, but he was. But so be it. Which find your other trainer, so maybe that was enough for you. But I just think that it affects the integrity of the competition only in a minor way, but it can be a significant way. All these trainers on the field, we have seen it in significant ways. The Raiders could still argue the 2019 grand final hasn't hit, if the ball doesn't hit a trainer who shouldn't have been there, who didn't get off the field. It cost them an opportunity.
If you're in an NRL club, why aren't you putting an assistant coach on to run the water?
Well, they generally are. That's the thing. Michael Maguire ran the water for years for the Storm. Like a lot of them go from doing that, and a lot of I've seen other head coaches do that at different times. They generally do that because they're the best ones that can convey the message.
Well, that famous walkers on was when Nathan Brown was
as a head coach, and so it does happen, and that's part of the charade. They almost should be banned from even talking on the field. And then you'd have to start looking hand signals, whatever they want to do, but they'll come up with something. But I just think that they've got there should be almost no communication, and no instructions allowed to be carried out. If a player wants to take an instruction off a mid game, walk to the sideline. If it's that important, sacrifice your position. Walk to the sideline. Get the instructions. Walk off the field. Leave your team with 12 men. If it's that vital that you're prepared to leave your team with 12 men for a brief period of time, then fair enough.
I guarantee if they stop that, they'll be learning sign language in
the
off season.
Look, we don't want them to. I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had enough
of it. Let's sort it out.
But fans are over it, and fans they're frustrated by it. They're annoyed by it, and I just think it's almost.
Good on Billy Slater to identify that clubs are looking for that small fraction. They'll do anything.
Well, good on Billy for being honest about it and actually saying it. Yes, and Billy was one of the best at just finding that little 1% advantage over his opponent. So he knows what he's looking for, Billy.
Yep.
And the fact he's come out and spoken about it on his podcast, good on him, because I think the game needs a dose of honesty in this case. And for people sitting here saying, "Oh, it's not that big a deal," it is that big a deal. It is that big a deal, particularly when it can spoil your chances of winning the game.
Very good. All right, let's move on to the Broncos because they could be in a bit of trouble here. 3 hamstring injuries on the weekend.
Yeah.
We believe Billy Walters will be playing 6.
Yep.
With
that's
Jock Madden potentially coming. Billy Walters is going to be named, but Jock Madden might be playing it. That's what the charades are going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ben Hunt at half.
Yeah, I think – I don't know what Michael Maguire's going to do. Yeah, Ben Hunt at half-back, you would imagine. That's the obvious one.
They don't lose much there.
No, of course not. And then whatever he decides, the Broncos are just now scrambling. It's going to be tough for them. As we know, that was a very unique situation where they lost 2 halves within a couple of seconds of each other.
Seen anything like that?
Nothing. Yeah. And on the same play. But anyway, the Broncos are going to, we'll see what they're going to try and do now, how they're going to get that going right.
One of our listeners talked about Reece Walsh to half.
Well, that's apparently, look, he claims that's going around. I don't know. I've never seen too much of Reece Walsh playing half. So
Ben Hunt to 6, I guess.
I'd put Walsh. If you're going to do that, you put Walsh at 6 and you just make him a running 5'8". Okay, I think that's got potential, particularly with Ben Hunt running the team. And then you put, say, Cobbo back at fullback.
Cobbo's out; he's injured.
Oh, sorry, he's done his hamstring too. Yeah, sorry, what am I talking about?
Yeah,
look, but Reece Walsh to 5'8", it can work. We'll see how it goes.
Adam Reynolds supposed to be back for the finals.
But I also think don't pay attention to whatever team they name. I think there'll be changes.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, I want to talk to you about this fight night which happened on.
Well, that's another thing, Warren. I sat here yesterday and I gave Jerry Sutton praise for the way he handled it, the way he basically put the flames out of this drama. And then overnight, I'm sort of looking around at different things, and I missed I think it was a footy show on Sunday. Billy Slater again said it, and Billy, in his no-nonsense way, they showed the audio of Jerry Sutton calling to the bunker he wanted 2-on-2. And once again, Warren, this goes to the issue of the game for many people.
So you mean two off from both teams?
He wanted 2 players from the Dolphins and 2 players from the Roosters.
Yep.
Now, at the time, yes, it settled everybody down. 11 on 11, not ideal, but what it did was everyone sort of felt like it was kind of fair. But to go in with a predetermined decision that you want 2 on 2, and he's waiting for the bunker to tell him which 2, that's just bullshit.
Yeah, that is absolute rubbish.
And that is this manufacturing results. Now, if it had been 13 on 11 and there was a couple of tries scored, it would have been a blow-up. And I will say I could see the potential for 13 on 11. Spencer Leniu went in shaping up, literally shaping up. What's the Dolphin player supposed to do?
Yep.
And then once that started in a little bit of push and shove, who was it? White came in for the Roosters and basically coat hanging him out of it, okay? Third man in. So the third man in's been lost from the game. It used to be third man in, you're the one off. And that sort of discouraged everybody else from running in. I think that should be reintroduced to third man in because it discouraged everybody else. Again, that's something that's been lost in NRL headquarters. They probably weren't around back in the days when it used to happen. But it's a good idea to look at. But 13 and 11 would have made it difficult. So why Jerry Sutton actually went into the whole discussion before he called a player out, telling the bunker he wanted 2 on 2. So the bunker then had to find 2 players from each side.
Yeah, that's right.
That goes to the integrity of the game.
Absolutely.
And people will say, well, it's fair, 2 on 2. It's not fair if you're the person it's happening to. Christian Wolf after the game argued that what were his players supposed to do? They're basically trying to protect themselves. So I get that. So he's arguing, well, we didn't get an advantage. It wasn't fair to us. We were basically acting in self-defense. So what's the fairness about it all? It's these predetermined decisions and these ideas that they're going at to try and make the game seem fair to the uneducated eye. That is just frustrating the hell out of fans. And people, it's a robbery.
I was at a game on the weekend and the call came in, when they go to the bunker and you could hear 2 or 3 voices in the background giving instructions to the bunker saying, well, just say it went back and then he picked it up after that. And everyone was just kind of going, is this fair dinkum?
Well, see, Warren, what happens sometimes, I got in trouble for this many, many years ago, because every now and then the NRL, for whatever reason, if you're listening on Sportsies, as I did back then, I don't know what you're listening in on, is it Sportsies? Or?
No, they just have it over the loudspeaker now.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. But
what they do every now and then is they leave the audio channels open and they forget that it's open, so you can hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite annoying. It's like sitting in air traffic control.
Yeah,
like,
so confusing.
All sorts of stuff's going on.
Yeah.
But what they do, sometimes they leave that open and you can hear the narrative back and forth about that. But to sit there and have someone be so casually going, well, just say it went backwards. Like, mate, honestly, that is the stuff. That's like our worst fears. That is the stuff we hope it doesn't go on in there.
Oh, it does. Yeah, absolutely does.
And it does. And that's the concern. So, but this, again, these false methods of equaling the game. If I'm going to send 2 off, clearly Spencer Leniu was going to go. White was more than likely going to go 2 as the third guy that escalated it, I would argue. So there's 2 from the Roosters. To then have to go and try and find 2 for the Dolphins, I can understand Christian Wolf's frustration. Okay, look, when I watched it the first time through, I saw those 2 players. I didn't really catch what the Molo and the Dolphins were doing, but I sadly for me, I trusted the NRL that they got it right. And then you hear that audio. I want 2 on 2, 2 on 2. I honestly, mate, I don't know where to go with all this. It frustrates me. I get sick of bitching about it. But the game's got to be better than that. And it can't be manufacturing results. And you can't be manufacturing a level competition. Because once you're identified as manufacturing results for the good of the competition and make it a better spectacle and make it an entertainment decision, you lose public faith, and eventually that's when you lose the public.
So why is that happening? Why?
Because they're not smart enough to think they can't get caught for it.
Okay.
They do it because they think that they're giving everybody an even competition where everybody can turn up and their team's an even chance of winning the game. That would be best done by making the salary cap work, which they seem unwilling to do, but we won't go down that road. But they do it in these other, I would almost claim they're secretive ways. They certainly don't intend for them to become private, like public, like they can be. But yeah, and I've spoken about this compulsion at the moment to have a close penalty count all the time.
Yeah.
To if you get touched up in the first half with penalties and 6 against, every chance it's going to even up by the time full time comes around. So all these artificial ways that they're finding to manipulate the stats, which Abdo is big on stats, which is a complete crock of shit. Okay, because the fact is they're not genuine. They're not genuine. Anyone that's watched the game and knows what the game looks like can see that, and that's why all the fans are frustrated by it.
Do you think it's because the issue is that the referees are so gun shy about making the wrong decisions? You know, and part of the problem is we kind of tear into them when they do make these bad decisions. But
that's part of it. That's also that because we put too much on the referee and their interpretation rather than just straight officiating. Okay, he makes a judgment call. Referees shouldn't be asked to manage a game. If you're offside, I saw an offside penalty on the weekend. I nearly fell off my chair because I thought, gee, where did that come from? You know what I mean? I was right. But those sorts of penalties these days, in the old days, that was the standard, the offside penalty. You hardly see them these days. Now it's just a straight 6 again. You move on, you're wondering what's happening. There's just too much corruption. And I mean this in a pure sense, not in the financial sense. Not a financial incentive sense, but there's just too much corruption of rules. There's too much leaving it open to interpretation, which once your interpretation is different from mine, that's what sends everybody off their nut. Like,
well, I've always been a big believer in the bunker. I've always thought the bunker, a majority gets it right. On the weekend is the first time I've ever thought, you know what, let's just get rid of that because the referees just have no confidence.
I was the same, mate. I was a believer. There was a period there where I thought yes. But the problem with the bunker, we brought it in to get rid of the howler. Remember that old argument? Get rid of the howler. But we've got rid of the howler. But there's only probably 1 or 2 howlers, if that, a game.
Yeah.
I'd say 1 or 2 howlers around, right? Not a game, around. And the bunker picks it up pretty quickly. Okay, bloke dropped the ball over the line, whatever. He went to touchdown from a kick chase, and he actually bounced the ball instead of grounding the ball. So the bunker does pick those up. But all it's really done is change the point of our argument. So we've got the howler under control, but we've still got that little one where we sit there and we'll watch a play of the ball where a hand's in the play of the ball, and some people will go, no, it's a loose carry, and someone will go, no, he's knocked it out. The tackler's knocked it out. And I've said this. It goes to the bunker on a captain's challenge, and if the 2 guys in commentary can't agree on what they see, how are the 500,000 people at home who are watching the telecast, how are you supposed to get complete agreement among them? You can't. Yeah. So then what that does is that then leads to this blow up where some guys will say, mate, he knocked the ball out. Some people say it's a loose carry, and we can't argue. And that just then brings this, fuels this distrust and frustration with the bunker. Like,
and
it becomes
got massive anxiety because of it.
And it becomes self-fulfilling after a while. It just because you just cannot escape it.
I guess the problem is now they've got the captain's challenge, so they can't really get rid of the bunker. Because
the thing is, sport all around the world is moving that way.
To a bunker or getting rid of the bunker?
No, to a bunker. Like soccer for years resisted the.
Now they've got VAR.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yep. So now, and they finally, soccer was one of the last big sports to go down that road, but it did. It felt the public pressure. Hasn't fixed the problem.
No, people are questioning whether to get rid of it.
Well, it's changed. As I said, all it does is change the point where you argue. Okay, that's it. And so anyway, but they'll go on. So look, I get the frustration, but what I really can't cop is the artificial management of how they manufacture the decision to keep the game even. That is unfair to certain teams, and it's unfair in the way the game is being officiated. It creates a false competition, if you ask me.
Last bash of the ARL Commission, we've bashed him a little bit, sorry, gents and ladies, is Wayne Bennett's come out and had a bit of a go at him about him
over the weekend.
Ineligibility to be Kangaroos coach.
Yeah, and spot on.
Yep.
Good on him. Wayne knows this. The best coaches are in the NRL.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you give the best coaches the biggest job, which is to coach Australia? It is simple. And the NRL can't explain why. This all became about because, look, it goes back to 1985, Terry Fernley, where they brought in this rule, okay, where back then it wasn't club coaches, it was origin coaches were not allowed to coach Australia because Terry Fernley sacked 4 Queenslanders and brought in 4 New South Wales players. Yeah, won the test, mind you. That bit gets forgotten.
Yep.
But he did that, and Queenslanders were in upheaval over it. Since then, there's been a decision made. So I think it was when Tim Sheens was taken over that they didn't want a club coach. Now Sheens was a recognised champion club coach. He just didn't have a job at the time, so it's made sense. But at some point, it's been formalised. So now there's this idea that, no, you can't have club coaches. Why? Wayne Bennett is perfect. This idea that he can't do 2 jobs.
Well, your mate Buzz said he should just concentrate on South.
Well, Buzz has got 4 jobs. You know what I mean?
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Very true.
So if you can only do 1 job, Wayne Bennett is more than capable of finishing the NRL season. They don't get Wayne goes away and sits on his farm anyway until just before Christmas.
Yep.
Like he's got more than enough time to coach Australia.
Yeah.
He's got more than enough knowledge to coach Australia. He can do the job.
Yeah.
He can do it on his ear. Same as Origin. You don't need unemployed coaches or unemployed ex-players who are basically sitting there for the job and overlooking good qualified coaches.
You don't eat and sleep when you get to that age too. Either you just stay awake all the time.
Well, that's true, but the fact is, it's just again to formalise this idea. I think it just shows by putting it down in writing. We can't. That's a rule. It takes the obligation off the ARL Commission to make a bold decision.
Yep.
And it takes away. It removes a lot of options for them to make, to safeguard making a dumb decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if they pick the wrong guy, whatever, why didn't you pick this guy? So what this does, now they go, well, maybe we pick the best of who's available rather than pick the best guy, which safeguards them for making a dumb decision.
They lose.
Heaven forbid they make a dumb decision.
Again. Last thing for the day is I want to talk to you about Jake Turbo. He's had his 3rd concussion.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I mean, I know you're a big proponent of, players sitting down for long-term CTE issues. How do you feel about Jake?
I'm worried. I worry about him. Look.
We don't know the background fully.
No, I know, but he's had 3 bad concussions this year. 3. That's a lot in one season. Look, Warren, as you get older, you walk upstairs and you forget why you walk upstairs for. You know what I mean? I won't tell you some of the things I've been doing lately.
From personal experience or
Oh, look, you go to the fridge, you think, what was I going to eat? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
but
it.
what I'm saying, as you get older, you sit there and you do worry about it. And every person I know has been young and invincible. I don't care about it. I've moved on. I want to play football. I want to get in the boxing ring. I want to do whatever I want to do. You don't think about it. And then at some point, though, when that warrior mentality inside you leaves because it has to quieten after a while. And then, like I said, you forgot what you're doing. It comes into your brain. And I can understand Jake not wanting to retire, but there is a concern for that. And I'm not going to tell him to retire. It's not my job to tell him what to do. But I just think I would spend the off season really just having getting examined properly, getting looked at. They do have sort of base marks that they've been working off with all that sort of brain health and all that sort of business. And I just think it needs to become a priority for him, and it needs to become something that's at the forethought of his thinking in regards to his future, because you don't want to be drawing ducks on the wall and feeding them when you get older. You know what I mean? Like there's
a really touching moment on the weekend when, I don't know if you saw it, when Tom Turbo and went up to his brother when he was trying to stay on
Yeah.
and said, mate, off you go.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty nice.
Yeah, because Jake, but see, the thing about that is Jake was temporarily confused. And when you get concussed like that, you can be confused. You get up and you think, what's happened? And you see people rushing around you. And generally when you get knocked out, you don't, well, you know, every time I got knocked out, but every time you get knocked out, you don't remember the incident itself.
No.
Okay. So Jake had this confusion because when people coming at you, checking on you, grabbing hold of you and all that, you go from being, hang on, well, what's happened? Like, what's going on? And sometimes your urge is to say, look, hey, leave me alone, I'm okay. That's when Tom said to him, mate, go off.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, very good.
you know, it was a really lovely moment actually between two brothers, but from a very serious situation. And yeah, that's where I want Jake we all want Jake. Jake's the nicest bloke in rugby league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want him to be that way for a long, long time. So hopefully he just looks after himself.
Maybe the fact that probably out of the finals picture now might make a difference.
Well, look, I don't think it's going to do him any harm if he's going to sit out this week. They've got 3 weeks to go. The warrior in Jake, he'll want to finish the season. The love for his club is he'll want to finish the season. They still think they're a chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But we all just want him to be okay.
Yep, very good. All right, Kenty, that's it for us today. Thanks very much. Remember, Ask Kenty is tomorrow, so leave your questions down below. We'll go through them, as many as we can. Until then, see you then. Bye-bye.